Life has it in it. But you got to take it from life. Life doesn't give you stuff. You got to go and get it. And life is like Goliath. It's always threatening you every morning. Come and get me. And life calls you names like lazy, slow. It calls you afraid, timid. And you got to prove life wrong. You see, people who fail decided to fail. Nobody fails without their own decision. I hope you're listening to these things. That's why God never accepted anybody in Scripture as a failure. When he met Gideon in that threshing floor, Gideon had all the things figured out. I am the least of my family. I'm the black sheep of my family. I have no influence in the clan. I am a nobody. And here comes God, mighty man of valor. Now, how can you say that to a coward? This guy's already decided I'm a coward. God says, you're a mighty warrior. It's amazing how God contradicts our own conclusions about ourselves. And I hope he keeps doing it too. Aren't you glad he does that? Yeah. Isaiah says, be not ashamed. First of all, he says, neither be confounded or depressed, nor disgraced. Now, what do you think causes people to be depressed more than their past? Nothing. It's what you experience that depresses you. I mean, maybe you were a victim of incest, and it happened 20 years ago. And 20 years later, you are still depressed by that experience. And that was an event, not a life. Write this down. Never confuse your behavior with your worth. Secondly, never confuse your experience with your worth. You are worth more than what you experience, and you are worth more than what you've done. Your behaviors and your experiences must never be confused with your value. I'll give you an example. If I have in my hand right now a $1 million diamond, genuine $1 million diamond, and I take it and I throw it in the mud in a pigsty, does that diamond lose value? Is it still $1 million diamond? Yes. In other words, the mud and the pigs does not devalue the diamond. As a matter of fact, the pig just gained value. It is now in the presence of what? $1 million. You may be born into the ghetto, into the lowest hick town in Pennsylvania, where nobody knows anything about anybody. But it doesn't matter where you were born. The fact is that you were born there. You make it important. That's why many of you had to come here to see me. And some of you had to ask directions to find this place, huh? Yeah. But you see, it is the value of the thing that makes it important, not what happens to it. So if you are a victim of incest, you must now forget. Decide to forget. And you do that by looking to your future. You know, you can drown your memories out by being too busy with your future. Some people are so preoccupied with what happened to them that ain't nothing happening to them. Some people are so committed to keeping alive that which is dead that they are not living. Isaiah says, do not be depressed nor disgraced. You will not be humiliated. What a powerful word. You will forget the shame of your youth. I tell you, that's a powerful statement. Notice the statement. You will forget. Wait a minute, God. You don't want it. God says, look, forgetting is an act of the will. Memories don't go away. You send them away. You Yes, you've been abused. Yes, you've been beaten by your husband. Yes, you've been robbed of your virginity. Yes, you've done this and yes, you've done that. God says, now decide to forget it. You see, the reason why you can forget is because you can be so busy creating new memories, it's easy to forget. You must will to forget. Statement again, for you will forget the shame of your youth. That's what Paul did. That's what Moses did. They will to forget. Now let me tell you how I know when a person forgot their past. They are able to use it. You are not free from your past until you can use it. Your past is conquered when you can use it as a testimony.
Did you know there are 2 basic Bible with an audio guide for every...
Until you can take what happened to you and use it as an illustration, you are not free from it. You know, give an example. Guess who wrote about Moses murdering a man? Guess who wrote it? Come on. Moses wrote it. The guy was free from it. He said, I killed the guy. Did you all know I killed the guy? I mean, here's a man writing about him being a murderer. And it doesn't have a problem. And guess what he says? I am the humblest man that ever lived. He wrote that too about himself. Who wrote about Paul murdering people? Paul did. Every time Paul went into a town to preach, you know the first thing Paul did? Before Paul spoke, before any audience, you read it carefully in history, whenever he wanted to speak to people about God, the first thing he did was say this. He says, hear me, brethren, I am he. You know why he did that? He knew what they were thinking. He said, I am he who went and got letters from the royal authorities, and I went up and down, north and south, and I killed, and I massacred, and I was committed to destroying these people of this way. But, thanks be unto God. Everybody say, but. You know, when you can use it, yes, I was a dope addict. Yes, I was strung out in the base house, but thanks be unto God. You see, yes, I was a prostitute. Yes, I sold my body for 10 years, but thanks be unto God. In other words, when you tell them your past, they can't use it against you. When you are free from your past, you can use it against the devil. You know, people who deny their past are not free from it. They are imprisoned by it. That is why we don't move forward. Because we allow the past to trap us in our youth. You will forget the past and the shame of your youth. And then he says, and remember no more the reproach.